Hi, welcome to Healthy Hotel Cooking. I'm Nathanael Levinson, the Kitchen Chemist, and I'm here with Nellie Johnston, who is a nutrition expert and food educator. So Nellie, we're going to be cooking with a microwave, so talk to me a little bit about what we're making.
Today we're going to be making a garden veggie frittata, and it's super easy and comes together really quick in the microwave.
All right, sounds good. So what ingredients are we working with?
We're going to start with eggs. Eggs are our main ingredient, and then we're going to add a bunch of fresh veggies. We have spinach and peppers, onions, garlic, and tomatoes. And then in any frittata you add a little bit of milk and cheese to kind of make it a little fluffy.
All right, so we've got our vegetables now. Could I do this with frozen or canned vegetables, or should I not do that? Should I avoid that?
You could do it with frozen or canned vegetables. You just want to make sure that the moisture is out. So if you're using frozen vegetables, cook them before in the microwave and then drain them, pat them dry with a paper towel before you add them to the eggs. Otherwise, it will change the moisture content, it will change the consistency of the frittata.
Yeah, don't water down your eggs. Well, all right, so what if I can't find fresh eggs? So let's say I can't get my hands on fresh eggs. Is there a substitute? I mean, a frittata is an egg dish, so how do I cook it if I can't get eggs?
You can use liquid egg whites. I would suggest liquid egg whites instead of the egg substitute, because if you look at the egg substitute, it's just liquid egg whites with a ton of additives and food coloring. So stick with the whole stuff and just get the egg whites. It does change the consistency a little bit and the flavor a little bit because you don't have that fat from the yolk, but it still will work.
Now, could you add in a little bit of fat, like put some butter or some oil in there? Would that help, or would it just kind of separate out into a mess?
You could probably add a little extra cheese, I think, but I wouldn't add any extra oil.
Extra cheese, always a good thing. All right, well, let's get started.
All right, so the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to cook this for a family in a pie dish. And anything you use, you want to make sure it is microwave safe. So we're going to use a pie dish because this will serve 4 members of the family. And we are going to start by dicing our pepper and onion and mincing our garlic. And so in a normal frittata, not in a microwave, you would do this on a stovetop, but we can do this, we can saute in a microwave just as easily as we can do it in a stove. So we have our minced garlic. We're just going to put this off to the side. Then we're going to cut a pepper. You can use whatever color bell pepper you want, and we're only going to be using part of this. This is a huge pepper, so we're probably going to be using 1/3 of this. And we're dicing, and you want them diced pretty small. This also helps as you microwave them and saute them in the microwave. They'll cook pretty quickly. And now we are going to use a red onion for this, but if you can use a yellow onion or a Vidalia onion, whatever onion you have access to. Red onions are a little bit more potent, so we're going to use a little bit less than what the recipe calls for. It calls for 1/4 of an onion, but these are very flavorful, so we're just going to do a couple tablespoons of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our pie dish and we're going to put in a tablespoon of olive oil. You can use regular oil, you can use butter, it just needs to be a fat. So we're going to put that in the bottom, and then we're going to add these minced garlic and peppers and onions to the bottom of that pie pan, and then you're going to take that spoon and just move it all around. And then we're going to take this and we're just going to put it in the microwave for 2 minutes on high.
All right, well, we just heard the beep, which means our vegetables are sauteed, so we're going to pull that on out. Ooh, nice and steamy. Ooh, smells good. So our vegetables are nice and soft. You can see they're a little translucent now, so they've cooked. So what's next?
Okay, so we're going to just stir this again real quick and just kind of let it set to the side right here, because now it's time to get the rest of our vegetables ready. So we're going to use about 1 cup of spinach. We did not cook the spinach with the vegetables because spinach wilts really quickly when heat is applied, and so it will cook just fine in the microwave with the eggs. The last vegetable we're going to cut up are cherry tomatoes, and these are not going to go in the bottom of the pie dish. We're going to use these to decorate the top.
Now you do want to be careful if you don't have a sharp knife. The tomato skin is very tough and your knife can slip off it, so do be careful when you're cutting up tomatoes.
Okay, so we have all of our veggies prepped. Now it's time to get the base of our frittata, which is the egg mixture. So we are going to crack eggs into this little bowl, and we need 6 eggs, and again, this is going to feed 4 people. Okay, so we have our eggs in our bowl, and we're just going to use a disposable fork. because again, this is a perfect whisk. This is also fun for your kids to do if they're with you because they like to pop the eggs.
Do keep an eye on them because this can get real messy real fast.
That's right. Definitely never leave them unattended. So we're just gonna try to whisk this. Okay, so we've whisked our eggs. Now we need to add that fat that is important for a frittata. So we are going to use a 1/4 cup of milk. A coffee cup is a great measuring device. This is usually about 12 ounces, which is 1.5 cups. You're just gonna fill up the bottom, maybe 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch with milk. So I use about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So now that we have our eggs done, we just need to add it to our vegetables. But before we do that, we are going to use shredded cheddar cheese in this recipe. And you only need about 1/3 cup. And then this is the fun part. It's super easy, but we're just going to take this egg mixture and we're going to pour it all over the top. Now, you're gonna see that there's still some vegetables and cheese that are kind of floating to the top. So then you're gonna take your fork and just kind of mix it around a little bit to make sure it's kind of evenly distributed. And then especially that spinach is kind of covered up. Okay, now we're gonna take our vegetables, our little tomatoes, and we're gonna just sprinkle them all over the top of this frittata. So we have our beautiful frittata, and it's time to cook this. Now, microwaves vary greatly, so we're going to play it safe because we don't want an overcooked frittata, but we're going to start cooking this for 6 minutes on high, and then at 6 minutes, we're going to check it and see, and chances are we're gonna have to do it in 2-minute increments after that until it's cooked, but we don't know the strength of different microwaves. So we're gonna start with 6 minutes on high.
All right. Well, there's the beep. Let's see if we're done. Oh yeah, looks done to me. Well, while that's cooling down, let's talk a little bit about Nellie Johnston. So you do nutrition and food education. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
All right, so I own a company called Growing Time Cooking, and for the last 7 years in the Charlotte area, I've taught kids how to cook and about nutrition, where their food comes from. Sometimes I teach adults too, but it's mostly kids. And then I've created a nutrition-based cooking curriculum for families.
Awesome. Well, how can people get tapped into that?
So they can just go to my website at growingtimecooking.com, and it's time like the herb, THYME.
Now our food was given to us by the Bulb.
Yes.
Thank you for the hat. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the Bulb?
Okay, the Bulb is an awesome organization in Charlotte, and before I tell you about them, just know that there are organizations like this all throughout the country. So if you happen to be watching this and you're not in Charlotte, just do a quick search online and you should be able to find an organization that's pretty similar. But the Bulb provides fresh produce to communities who have harder time getting access to it. They have 13 drop-off locations within the Charlotte region, and basically what they do is they have contracts with farmers and even some supermarkets who will give their leftover produce. And what the Bulb does is they will, let's say someone has a container of cherry tomatoes with 1 rotten tomato, they can't use that, so the Bulb will go get that, clean it, repackage it, and then take it to somebody who needs it. So it's an awesome organization that's getting these fresh vegetables to people who really need it. And you can check out kind of where their drop-off locations are by going to thebulbgallery.org.
All right, well,
all right,
let's dig in.
Let's do it. Good.
It's really good. You can taste all the vegetables we put in there. The tomatoes like nice and sweet. The spinach is, well, I mean, it's spinachy, but you got the onions and the garlic are just kind of through everything. That is really tasty. And again, you can kind of change this to whatever you want. I think that 1/2 teaspoon of salt was exactly the right amount. It's not too salty, it's not under seasoned, that's perfect. Well, Nellie, thank you so much for joining us. So that's it for our show today. If you want to check out Nellie's website,
growingtimecooking.com with time, THYME.
And if you want to check out our website, it is healthyhotelcooking.com. Until next time. So if you would like some more information, you can go to healthyhotelcooking.com. We've got videos, we've got tips, we've got recipes. All the information you need is right there. That's healthyhotelcooking.com.